Hi, everybody. This is Jared from Poppy's Techade. This video, we're going to show you how to open a private browser, a private window, or an incognito window, if you will. So what is and what isn't an incognito window or a private browser, private mode, whatever you want to call it? What it will do is it will dump any tracking cookies you pick up during your session. So basically, you're not going to have cookies saved, meaning, it's not going to save your phone number, your name if you fill out a form, things of that nature. So you won't have tracking cookies, and your browser history won't be tracked. So you won't be able to go in the next person or say, search the history of the browser and see what pages you were on, what sites you were on, etc. So so really it's just a level of anonymity. What an incognito mode or a private mode doesn't do is you can't hide activity from your employers, things like that. The browsing activity does show up on your ISP. If you wanted even further privacy, you would need a virtual private network. But just to keep it very basic, an incognito window mode or a private mode is going to, allow you to browse without your history being tracked. And it's not going to have cookies tracked. Another unique way and benefit that comes from a private window is, let's say you are a fan of the New York Times and you like to read their articles online, whatever, Washington Post, whatever, the local newspaper, it doesn't matter. What more or less how these sites work is, you get a free trial, if you will. So you get 10 articles to browse. And then after, that 10th browse, they say, they send you a message, say, hey, sign up for a paid subscription. If you're in a private mode and the entire time while reading these articles, that site has no way to know who you are and basically track how many articles you're reading. Therefore, you can kind of slide past their system and browse articles nonstop, because there's just no way for them, what is called a paywall. There's no way for them to track how many times you're coming, because since your cookies aren't tracked in a private mode or incognito mode, you just can continue to read the articles for free without ever likely being prompted to buy a subscription. And the last, true benefit and why you can use a private mode is, say you're on a public computer or somebody else's computer, public computer being the library, where it may be, then somebody else's computer, a friend's house, a relative. If you just go in the regular browser, what happens is, if they really wanted to, they could track your history and see what you did. The benefit of doing, it just leaves, if you're worried about that stuff, especially on a public browser, hackers have been known to do that, track people's history of public places. Sometimes they, bring up sensitive information. Sometimes they don't log out of things. But in an incognito window or a private browser, all that's kind of taken care of. And once you X out, it's X'd out. It's gone. Your cookies aren't tracked. Nobody can tell what you were browsing, what sites you were at. So it's just safer in a way to use a private browser when at a public computer, or really a computer that's not yours. So that's really it. A lot, fun fact. A lot of the reason people know about private browsers, or, it was originally called, quote unquote, the porn browser, because your history won't be tracked if you're watching pornographic films or something of that nature. But, it does hide the history, but there's several other reasons besides that. The XXX version of why you could do that Let's say you were buying a gift and you didn't want, a special gift for somebody's birthday, and that you share a computer with them and you didn't want them to know. If you go on a private browser and always X out, they'll never stumble upon what you're thinking about buying and things like that. So last part here, the grand finale. How do I do this? How do I open an incognito window? It technically depends on which browser you're using. So in this scenario, we'll show Chrome, super popular, but it's pretty much the same in terms of the layout of how you do it across browsers. So it's usually in the top right corner here. So I'm going to hover over Customize and Control with Google Chrome. These three dots here. I'm going to click, and I'm going to click New Incognito Window. And it's going to say, you've gone incognito. Now you can browse privately, and other people who use this device won't see your activity. However, downloads and bookmarks will be saved. You can learn more about that if you want. Chrome won't save the following information: your browsing history, as we discussed in depth, cookies and site data, as we discussed, information entered on forums, which we mentioned. Your activity might still be visible to websites you visit, depending on what you do and what information, if you submit information, your ISP, as I mentioned earlier, and your employer or school, as I mentioned, employer. So that's it. And then you would treat this as a normal, wherever you want to go from here. You would go normal about your day, but the difference is your cookies aren't being tracked, and your cookies and history are not being tracked. So that's all I got. The shortcut, one last tip here. The shortcut, as you see, is Control-Shift-N on PCs. So, if you're on any browser, Control-Shift-N should be the universal shortcut. So if I do Control-Shift-N here, it opens up, I get the same message, and I can, start my day and, browse away. So that's all I got. Thanks so much for watching this video. And thanks so much for your support, Poppy's Tech Aid. And if you have any other questions, please ask Poppy. All right. Take care, all.